is my assistant Daryl. Daryl's going to be helping me with some of the demonstration. I'm going to be doing things a little different to what you've been doing maybe in some of the other cinemas. I'm not going to be focusing too much on doing techniques with you. Again, if I just concentrate on techniques, you get so many different variants of styles. It's just going to go on one ear really and out the other. It's going to be hard to retain that information. What I'm here to do today is give you an introduction to what Wing Chun's about. Has anyone done any Wing Chun before? A little bit of Wing Chun before? Okay. Wing Chun is a primary system of real self-defense. It's not a sporting system. It's not a system that you compete with really. Some people will try to use Wing Chun in tournaments. Doesn't really translate very well. Wing Chun is a system supposedly developed by two women, a Buddhist nun called Moy and passed on to a young girl called Yim Wing Chun. Now there's no written evidence to substantiate the history. It's a verbal tradition. However, we have quite an interesting system now. And I guess the way Wing Chun differs from other systems of martial arts, most systems of martial art are what I deem technique-based. A technique-based system is a system that's primarily taught you through physical movement. An instructor will demonstrate a technique, you'll pair up with a partner, and you'll try to train that technique repetitiously. Now, I see a problem with this type of training, especially if you are just learning techniques. If you go to your martial arts school 2 or 3 times a week, and in each class you learn 2 or 3 different techniques, by the end of 1 year you've got a lot of techniques that you've trained, and very hard to draw on all that information when you need it the most when you're being attacked. Wing Chun is not a technique-based system, even though we use techniques. It's what we translate as a principle training system. Okay. Principle being a rule or guideline. In this system we have a handful of principles that we can apply to any situation. Now what I'm going to do with you all today is I'm going to demonstrate these principles. That way you can see how the system works, and you can take these principles and apply them to your own system. Okay, so you'll see that work for yourself. Okay. Before we go into the principles, I'm going to talk to you about stages of combat. Stages of combat refer to different ranges between you and a potential attacker. Okay, so first stage, we'll start straight away. First stage is generally outside a stage of combat, non-contact stage. This is a stage where the guy is saying, hey, why'd you take my car park? Or why are you looking at my girlfriend? All this sort of stuff. Okay, from this range, you cannot physically make any contact with your opponent yet. So, second stage is here. Oh, you know how to move? Second stage is here, contact stage. Now contact means I cannot hit him with my hands, but if his hands are up in front of him, I can grab him at the wrist. I can also kick directly from the rear leg. I cannot reach from the front leg here unless I step up first. If I step up, I minimize my base, make it very easy for him to take me off balance very quickly if he decides to come in. So at this stage of combat, the only 2 things we can make contact is to be grabbed at the wrist or to be kicked directly from the rear leg, and this is vice versa. Okay. The next stage of combat is exchange stage, and this is where we can exchange blows, both of us, to all the major targets. Not good to kick or knee from here unless you have your attacker's balance. If you try to kick a knee from this range and you haven't affected your opponent, very likely he's going to affect you and you're going to end up on the ground with your attacker. Now some systems advocate ground fighting. Not such a good idea in a street fight, especially if there's obviously the environment and multiple attack. You know the arguments. Yep. Okay. The last 2 stages of combat are what we refer to as chase and retreat. Now we're going to examine chase and retreat a little bit down the track once we've covered some of the principles. It'll make more sense to you then. All right, straight into it. Principle number 1 starts at the first stage of combat. This, from here, non-contact. This is where the guy's eyeing you up, maybe verbally attacking you or whatever. Wing Chun says, face your attacker in what we call a neutral stance. Just front on. Very natural stance. Masashi said, make your natural stance your fighting stance. Remember, you have heard of this? Yeah, okay. Very natural. Why do you think I would stand front on to my attacker? What is the practical reason? I don't put my guard up. Yeah. Not such a psychological thing, more a practical thing. Think about a tennis player. When a tennis player is receiving serve, they're on the baseline, they're waiting for the service, they're in a neutral stance. Any direction, you can move in, you have utmost mobility. Generally what will happen if attack occurs, now you must understand attack is a very different animal to what a fight is. A fight you're ready for, attack you don't have warning. Generally your attacker has a physical advantage. Remember, they're cowards and bullies generally. Very rare that you'll get someone smaller than you wanting to fight with you. Unless, 1, they're armed, they've got a knife. 2, it's a multiple attack. or 3, they've got drugs or alcohol in their system, or they're a bit cuckoo. The only time someone physically weaker and smaller than you will try to attack you. So you have to assume your attacker has a physical advantage. Height, strength, reach, athleticism, weight. If you try to stand front on, you're already fighting an uphill battle. Okay. Now, from this position, it enabled me to step off in any direction, because generally he's going to rush in to bridge this gap to overwhelm me with force. This enables me to step off in any direction to get out of the way of his force for my utmost mobility, as I said. However, this would be the defensive maneuver. An offensive maneuver would be, as he come in, I go here, and then now the kick gives me range. Can he reach me? No, we don't kick up here, we kick right in here. All right. Now I thrust my hand before I kick. You thought you were going to go? No, all right, okay. All right. Now, I thrust one because if he wants to punch at this point, I find a point. I find this point. All right, find anything that comes through the center. But more, if he's coming towards me in a threatening manner and I thrust my hand and he puts his hand up to defend, even if I can't reach him, he feels like he has to defend something here. Yeah? Now, then I can kick because he can't reach, and now I can reach. So the advantage of the kick is the range of the leg. The disadvantage of the kick, you limit your balance, you take away your mobility because you're stuck on one leg. The advantage is you kick him, you can finish the instant right there, get out of there. The disadvantage is you're not a confident kicker, you might be taken off balance on the ground, not a good position to be in. Okay. Next principle is the guard of Wing Chun. Now many martial arts have different types of guards. You know, kickboxing, boxing, all sorts of different guards. Wing Chun's guard is more similar to pre-Queensberry rule boxing guard. You've seen the old photos of old boxers. Heads back, hands in the center, both fists. Heads right back, weight like this. This is a Wing Chun guard. Okay. Wing Chun, we have 2 line principles. A center line, it's an imaginary line that cuts us directly in half. Along the center line, you have a lot of vulnerability. Most of you guys know about the center line. Bridge of the nose, mouth, throat, sternum, solar plexus, abdomen, groin. Wing Chun says you've got to protect your center. We then have what we call central lines. Central lines come from the center and go off on angles like this. Everything that is off a center line is a central line. So the way we make our guard is, our weight is always 50-50. We turn our body side on to minimize our target area. This hand sits on the center, it's called the Wu Sao, protecting hand. This hand sits on the central line. So if I face you, that's the central line, this is the center line. So it's exactly the same as if I just had my hand open. Now the guard doesn't stay stationary, it is constantly in flux. Part of the reason it's in flux is it makes it very difficult to grab. You see the old guys that used to roll their arms. Because pre-Queensberry rules, which is the rule system that they use in boxing these days, they didn't use. There was a lot of rules that they don't use today. It was bare knuckle first of all. You were allowed to grab by the hair. You were allowed to hit with the free hand. Tripping was allowed. Okay, so a lot of differences in boxing now. Okay, now, first reason I put my guard like this, I don't put it directly in the center of him. I put it to cover the outside of his leading elbow, and I'll explain that a little bit in a moment. If he wants to strike now with a lead, I cover that arm. If he wants to hook with the lead, he has to come around now. All right, so the first reason is I stop him exploiting the most direct path. The quickest path is the straight line. And a punch can come through the center at about 0.2 of a second. The delta stays there, and it takes about 0.2 of a second for a punch to go through the center. So I don't want my opponent to exploit the most direct path, so I occupy it. By occupying it, I force him to make a decision. He either go come around here, he go come around with the other hand, yeah? He's got to come around somehow to get to me. Or he can try to grab me. Now, like I said, if he's trying to grab me, you'll make it a bit difficult because your hand's moving. However, if he does grab hold of me, and he wants to hit me with his hand, this hand is called the Wu Sao, the protecting hand. I will step off and flick and block. Or if you grab with this one, I go up here and hit here. The Wu Sao now comes into play when my front hand can't. Okay. Any questions so far? Anyone want to ask me a question? Okay. No. All right. Now, the next principle is focus your eyes on your opponent's leading elbow. The leading elbow is always the elbow closest to you. this point right here. Now, if he changes, this becomes the leading elbow. I don't care which elbow comes forward, I always watch the leading elbow. First reason, it's the closest threat to me. The leading hand is the hand that can potentially grab me first or potentially hit me first. Now, I don't look at the hand because the hand is quicker than the eye. You've been seen a magician, hand quicker than the eye, you pulls a rabbit or a coin out of your ear, abracadabra, okay. If you're looking at the tip of my hand, quite hard to track. It's a bit easier when you're further away. The closer you get, the harder it is. You look at this point, it's hardly moving at all. It's the fulcrum. Now, if I'm in a fighting position, watch my elbow when I do a corkscrew jab. Which way does my elbow go out? Out to the side, yeah, like a wing unfolded. The elbow is moving 2.5 times slower than my fist. If I do a hook with my leading arm, which way does my elbow travel? Goes back before it comes forward, 4 times slower than my fist. If I punch from my rear hand, my leading elbow still has to go back. We watch the leading elbow, so that way we can predetermine through basic body mechanics what type of attack is occurring. Doesn't matter if I want to kick with this rear leg, this point will show me. Alright? So, the next point, the reason why we watch the leading elbow is it gives us the strategy of this system. Now the strategy of this system is quite unique. If I'm in a front-on stance, just have a seat for a second. If I'm in a front-on stance, my leading elbow cuts me into 2 distinct halves. Inside the leading elbow, where my rear hand and my rear leg is, what we call the open side, and outside the leading elbow, what we call the blind side. Now, what was your name? Tom, would you like to help me for a moment, Tom? If Tom stands in front of me right here, just put your hands up like this, we'll come over here a bit so people, you guys might want to move bunch together a bit so you're not so spread out, yeah. If I'm standing right here in front of Tom, is this a good position for Tom? Yeah? I'll tell you why it's not. Because I can use both my hands and both my legs. Now Tom can too. So is it even? Is it fair? No. I'm bigger than Tom. I'm heavier than Tom. I'm stronger than Tom. If he tries to fight me right here, he's fighting an uphill battle. As I said, if you get attacked on the street, you have to assume your attacker has a physical advantage. For him to trade off with me, he's already fighting an uphill battle. Now, come around this side, Tom. Come around. Now, when Tom gets to here, when his center line lines up with my shoulders parallel to his center line, he's now on my blind side. You feel safer there, Tom? Yeah. All right. Now, from this position, Tom has an advantage. The first advantage is Tom can use both his hands and both his legs immediately to defend himself. For me, however, if I want to attack Tom from this position, I can only do it one movement at a time. It doesn't matter what I want to do from this position, it has to be one movement. I can swing. Now that's a circle. What's quicker than you just block? Now punch, straight line, whack. I can swing with this one. Block, punch. I can swing like this. Everything I'm doing is a circle without having to step first of all. Okay. He is doing a straight line. I can try to kick from here. Kick with the front leg. One. Oh, it's all right, I'm not going to kick here. All right. I can come up this way. Kick like this. However, the best defense is offense. Just open your hand for me. Just put it in my shoulder. As soon as I go to kick you, I want you to shove here. Go. That was just a demonstration. He's being nice. He just gave me a nice push. But he could very well just be coming in with force. So you're going to nullify my kick. Now, if I want to use both my hands against Tom and both my legs, what do I need to do first? Turn around, which means I have to step. I can step my front leg, which is one movement. I can step my back foot, which is one movement. All agree? Okay, Tom. Make a fighting stance. If I go over here, what's Tom's instinct tell him to do? Whack. I forced him to create a redundant movement, a wasted movement. And he opened up his... Now the first advantage Tom's going to have as soon as I turn is I'm off balance. So he can be attacking me as soon as I go to turn. And you can, if you're talking to a friend, a mate on the street, and you go, hey, check that out over there. He's going to do what? You throw an apple up, what goes up must come down. This is why it's a basic principle. When he turns, he can attack my balance as soon as I step. So he doesn't have to wait for me to open up. As soon as I turn, I open up that target. So I open the door and he rings the bell. All right? And note, when he turns, so you turn to face me. I go, hey, and you block. And then I go, whack. Because I force him, even though I'm not really trying to hit him with this, I get him to cover up. Then I attack a low point. You go low and come high, or come high and go low. It doesn't matter which way you do it. And as he turns, not only is he going to be off balance and he's going to open up his center, but as he turns, he's going onto one leg. So he has no mobility until he finishes that step. So you have a small window of opportunity. What we teach you in Wing Chun is how to take advantage of this opportunity. Yeah? Okay. Thank you, Tom. Well done, thank you. All right. Next reason we focus at the elbow is we control a person's balance. What's your name? Ben. You like to help me from number 10. The reason I'm using Ben is you've got a big leg. All right. Are you all right-handed? Okay. Face the crowd. Put your right side forward and extend your arm out. Okay. Push against me, all your strength. Push. Come on. Push, Ben. Push. Push, Ben. Come on. All right. Now what I'm demonstrating here is I control his balance with one finger. Not because my finger is strong, but because my position is structurally sound. Then you can sit down, thanks. I just needed you for that. Now, we don't just stand there with one finger. Come and just face the crowd. Okay. Now, if I get to this position, I can use two arms at the same time. You understand? While I'm controlling this point. He cannot use this hand unless he does what? If I can control Ben's balance with one finger with both his feet on the ground, as soon as a person steps, they're off balance. And I'm not just going to pull him with the elbow. The arm comes through with pressure as well. Okay. All right. All right. Next principle. In Wing Chun, we learn to use two arms at the same time. Blocking and striking almost simultaneously while moving to an opponent's blind side. Now, if Daryl goes to a fighting position, first thing I'm doing is I'm looking at his leading elbow. Yeah? That defines where his blind side is. If you want to do a punch at me, yeah. Oops, excuse me. All right. So from this position, he does a punch. Which way did I move? Can you hit me with this arm? Okay. Now, maybe you don't want to punch. Maybe you want your leg is more delicate, yeah? You want to go in like this. You put your arm out to reach. So I'm cutting off the angle. Maybe he just does a straight punch. Yeah, yeah. Straight away, I'm moving to which side? If he does maybe a jab and a second punch, I'm moving to the blind side, controlling that blind side. Every time he punches, he's getting hit for his efforts. Okay. However, what's the best defense? Offense, exactly. If you've got a guy who you know means your harm, don't wait for them to punch. As soon as he puts his hand there, I'm going to take that side. Now, watch again. Put the other side forward so they can see. Did I move? These 2 points are now in line with my center. I can use two arms now. Now, what I did was I controlled the leverage of his arm at the wrist. That's what we call the first bridge. So, can I use you again, Ben? Just put your stronger arm up in front of you. Don't let me push your arm down. Don't let me push your arm down. He can't resist. It's just physics, you understand? It's a leverage point. The first point you'll make contact is contact stage. Non-contact, contact. If I can get to here and I can move that there, then I can control the balance. You understand? The elbow controls the leverage of the body. The wrist controls the leverage of the arm. Okay, thank you again. All right. All right, attack pressure points. Attack an opponent's pressure points to make your striking more efficient. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman. If I'm getting attacked on the street, the guy who's attacking me is maybe 20, 30, 40 kilos heavier than me. You know the guy I'm talking about with no neck. Well, he's looking at my girlfriend. You don't want to have a fist fight with this guy. You don't want to get into a wrestling match with this guy. So how can you solve the issue if he doesn't take no for an answer? Yeah, well, you can kick him in the nuts, but if he blocks, only for, I don't know, knees, if you're a very good kicker, maybe. But if you get a little Chinese girl about this big, a guy this big, yeah? Pressure points, of course. Just pop your hand up like this from the other hand. Let's just imagine that's the guy's eye, and you just flick a guy in the eye. You can do it very efficient. Wing Chun is about being efficient and economic. Anyone can do that. And I guarantee you flick anyone in the eye like that, you're going to get an instant reaction. As soon as you do, then you're kicking in the you-know-where. Then you go. You don't hang around. You're not going to get a point or a trophy at the end of the night. All right? Okay. Again, it's about getting yourself out of that situation to a safe environment. If you don't know that and ever hang around, you're clicking back, oh, look, I think I'm going to go have another beer. Never do that. You know why? Who's he there with? You don't know. The fact of the matter is you don't know your environment is not safe. So you get out of that situation as quickly as you can to a place where you know is 100% safe. Okay. Don't fight force with force for the same reasons. This is the next principle. Do not fight an opponent's force directly. Now, all the different systems have this graph, yeah? It's a natural instinct for all human beings to fight force with force. We're born with this instinct. Remember in the schoolyard, two boys would get in a fight and push into each other, push, and then they grab each other's jumpers. And they start swinging, you know? Remember this? Okay. In an attack situation, if you get grabbed by someone, now remember the person who grabs you has already targeted you. You're having a nice night out, you don't know what's about to occur. They've seen you and said, yeah, I can control, I'm bigger than that guy, I can beat that guy up, or whatever it is. They've already made a decision that they're going to if you mess with them. Now, what's your name? Caroline, would you like to help me? So Caroline's out, she's having a nice night out. Please don't flip me on my head. Okay. All right. And I come over and I say, come with me. So you say, whack, whack, whack. What just happened? She got hit 3 times because she started resisting hit, whack, exactly. Or stab, even worse. Because I've already made a decision. She messes with this hand, she puts this hand here, or she tries to wrist, whack. Now I'm going to drag her into the alleyway. Her natural instinct was to resist. She doesn't want to come with me. No, but I'm stronger than her, so I'm going to get it. And if she does mess with me, I'm going to give it to her again. Put your hand up in front of you. What's the instinct telling you to do? Resist. We're all born with this instinct. In Wing Chun, you have to unlearn that. Okay. Caroline? Yep. Which is the hand that threatens you? That one. I'm going to start pulling you. Don't pull away from me. Don't come directly towards me. Move to which side? Go, 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 go. No, go, 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 go. No, not this side, not this side. Go this side. Yeah, okay. Do it again. This time I want you to come with me, but don't give me any information here. Okay. Just move with me, but move to this side. Go. Okay, stop. That's all she had to do. She's just changed the whole dynamics of the situation now. Now, very lightly, I just want you to pull your elbow back, the one that I'm grabbing. No, very lightly. Don't even twist. Just pull. Now, stand in front of me and try to pull me. Now, go to the other side again. Now, put your free hand in the center. Now, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I'm going to look at her. Now, remember I showed you before, the flick? Yeah, right in the eye. Now, don't flick my eye. I'm going to put my palm here. I want you to flick with the back of your nail as you pull here. So you're not coming towards me. You're going to pull me towards you. Now, pull and flick. Yeah, go again. Go again, pull and flick. And you can, now, just flick it. Give it to her. Yeah, go. That's better. Do it one more time. What happened? The flick becomes up. Well, look again. Yeah. Just let your hand go. With your eye, block. Now keep it there, keep it there. Now she's there. Okay. Alright, but now she's flicked my eye. Look again. She flicked my eye and potentially blocked my hand. Now she can come in here. Or open your hand up. Open your hand. It's better open. Pop. Yeah? Or kick like this. And then you know, that's just the finishes, the icing on the cake. So again, as she moves to my blind side, she's not resisting my force. She comes with me. But she forces me to move to this tactical position. As I turn, which is the first thing, you'll track with the eye, she flick the eye, and potentially block. Just open up your hand, yeah? Then you can hit here or pop here, give me one of these. She did all that, but all that advantage by not resisting my force directly. She came with me up that side. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, thank you, Cameron, thank you. All right. Now, how do we learn not to fight force with force? We have a type of training in Wing Chun called Chi Sao. Some of you may have heard of it, sticking hands. Yeah? Now, Chi Sao is an interesting training method. It's not sparring, it's not fighting. You see it on YouTube, blah, 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 they're hitting each other. No. It is a training method to train your contact reflexes constructively for combat and not to fight force with force. Your natural reflex is to resist force, to fight force immediately. We're all born with that. Chi Sao teaches you not to fight force with force. Now, I'm going to get someone to help me. Who'd like to help me? Anyone? Yeah? Okay, come on. What was your name? Matt, come over, Matt. All right, what I'm going to do with Matt is I'm going to give Matt 3 different lines of force. Only one line of force is going to really threaten Matt. Just come over here and get Matt. Okay, put your hand right in the center. Okay, just give me your other hand, your right hand. Yeah, okay. Does that threaten you? Okay, does that threaten you? Does that threaten you? Yeah, that's right. Let's look at it. Let's look at it again. Okay, does that threaten him? No, it's going over there. That type of force is like standing on the edge of a road and seeing a car drive past. A lot of force can go past. As long as it doesn't hit you, it's fine. Same thing here. The force travels down. Doesn't threaten him. It's like seeing something fall off a ledge over there. Ah, it's lucky I wasn't sitting in that chair over there. But if I push towards him, all right, now the force is coming straight at him. Now that is force that threatens you. The only type of force that threatens you is forward force. Now, if you may push my hand to the side, I can let that force go and occupy the most direct path immediately. I don't want to fight that force. I can go forward. If he pushes down, same thing applies. Yeah, I can go forward. Yeah, okay. If he pushes towards me, no, tread towards me. If you tread towards me, yeah. That's all right, it's okay. I'm not going to, if I let that go, it's going to hit me. So I have 2 options really. If you push towards me, yeah, then I go force. All right, it's forward force. If you push towards me, I go this side. Nice. Okay, so now I go to the blind side, or a combination of both. If you push towards me, I either redirect it, or I step off the line. You understand? Chi Sao enable you through a handful of different types of drills, how to do this as a reflex action. Thank you, thanks. Okay, I'm going to show you some basic Chi Sao. But before I do, I'm going to introduce you to 2 techniques in Wing Chun. Like I said, I wasn't going to teach you too much technique today, more principle based, okay? First technique I'm going to show you is a block in Wing Chun called Tan Sao. Tan Sao means dispersing hand. Tan means to disperse or spread out. Sao is the hand or the arm. Okay, now remember, this is developed by a little Chinese lady. So she couldn't afford to block with force. You block a man that's 20, 30 kilos heavier with you with force, clash on clash, it's going to interfere with your structure and make it harder for you to counter. So, if he was a lot bigger and heavier than me, come on. He does a round punch from here, yes, okay. Tan Sao. This energy is dispersed as I hit here. If he throws the other punch, it's a Tan Sao. Alright? If it's a straight punch, it's no different, it's still a Tan Sao. You understand? It's still Tan Sao. This Tan Sao movement disperses energy from the angle. The other technique I'm going to show you is called a Fuk Sao. Looks quite strange, I know. It means to subdue, subduing arm. Now, I'll show you how a Fuk Sao works. If I get to his blind side, you do a Fuk Sao either on the elbow or at the wrist. It doesn't seem like much, does it? I'm not even pressing on him, I'm just seeing it here. Now, I might do this with someone else, but, oh no, I'll do it with you, okay. It's hard to receive, but how can he use this arm against me now? Push against me, go, push. Now which one I do? Just do it slowly this time. As he push, he's pushing over here, so I go with it, and I flick it, or you know, whatever. If he tried to hook from here, you understand? It's a straight line. He can't reach me with this hand from here. He can't reach me from this hand. So what I'm doing is subduing the limb. Just by sitting my hand here, I'm not pushing down or pushing forward. This point, this forearm here covers this line. You understand? As soon as he takes his arm away, I can go forward. If he pushes it into me, I redirect that force. Can he reach me? No. You understand? I'll always go to this side. Make it harder for him to use that rear hand side. Okay. So we have a tan sao, we have a foot sao. Now I just wanted to show you the application of these two movements. Because what I'm going to show you now, you might want to squeeze in a bit more so you can see. This is basic type of chi sao called dan chi sao. The dan chi sao just trains one arm. Now, I'm in the tan sao. Daryl is in the foot sao. There's an equilibrium occurring here. We're going to make it a dynamic equilibrium. What I mean by an equilibrium is if he tries to strike me from here, I control the center, you see? I control the inside. He tried to hit me here, I control the center. If I try to hit him, his elbow controls the center. So it's an equilibrium. Now if I go to strike him with a palm strike here, it's forward force, and that threatens him. So he recognizes that and he redirects that energy. Now he has an opening to hit me, so I redirect the force. So you try so you can see from this side. He redirects my line, I redirect his line. So we're learning how to redirect force, forward force, from me, first of all, me being on the inside, but if I push forward, which way does he push my hand? That doesn't threaten me, so I just change position. So I can exploit the rotation. Now he starts, I redirect him, he redirect me. We have to respond to one another, okay? So you can do this with a blindfold, you may have seen people do it with blindfold. Now as he lifts up here, he's going up, you see? So I can come back underneath. Yeah, so I can exploit to go back inside. So you have this basic rotation that you learn, so you can go from inside to outside. Now, if I start pushing on him, what are you doing? Okay, watch again, watch again. As soon as there's an opening, yeah? As soon as he recognizes something that doesn't threaten him, he can now redirect it. So you can play a little bit. All right. As soon as there's an opening, he teaches him to go forward. Okay? Go forward. Because that doesn't threaten him, you understand? But if I go forward, then he has to redirect it. And vice versa. Alright, so how does this translate to real combat? How does this translate to real combat? Someone else like to help me? Anyone? Yeah? Yeah? Come over. What was your name? Alice, come over, Alice. Now what I'm going to show you now is how this is going to apply to real combat. Alice, make a fighting stance. Alright, now what I'm going to first of all tell you is, can I reach Alice? Now what you doing? Which way did she push? Over there. What I'm doing is I'm what we call creating a bridge. I just thrust at her. You ever had someone pretend they've got a ball in their hand and pretend they're throwing something? Yo! You get faked out. So even though I'm not actually in range to hit her, she's already pushing on my arm. So automatically I'm getting information that I can process through doing this drill. As soon as she pushes here, you push again like you were, then I go here. Alright, now I start attacking this side. If she, maybe I do it this side, which way is she going to push this way? Ah, this way now. Because she pushed out now. It's a natural instinct to resist force. You can bank on a person, you can bank on a person's natural reflex. So as soon as you make contact with them, they're going to fight, they're going to try to meet that force, even though you're not even in range to touch them yet. This gives us information that means we can cross the bridge into exchange stage, and then we can be more effective there. Thank you guys, thank you. Okay. All right. The last principle we're going to talk about is the ability to interrupt your movement. Interruption of movement is pivotal to this system. It starts with the stance, 50-50 weight distribution. If I put my weight on this leg, how can I move this leg? I've got to transfer my weight back before I can even think about stepping with it. So in Wing Chun, we always keep the weight evenly distributed. Doesn't matter if we're in a fighting stance or in a neutral stance, we're always 50-50 because it enables us to move either leg at any moment for utmost mobility and interruption of position. Okay, when we step, we don't step with our heel when we're walking or doing something. We're stepping with the toes. We step with the toe because if you land on your heel and all of a sudden something's happened, very hard to react off the heel. It leaves you flat-footed. So if we land on the ball of the foot, we can interrupt the step immediately and change what we're doing. Yeah? Okay, Daryl. A kick comprises 4 basic mechanical movements: elevation, extension, retraction, balance re-establishment. Yeah? Okay. However, most people fight, they miss the last one. They usually kick, they put all their eggs in one basket and lose their balance. Especially not very well trained people. Okay. So, if I want to kick Daryl, and he goes just out of my range, should I continue here? Should I continue to, or maybe I can kick him still, maybe back a little bit. Should I continue here? No. So I interrupt what I'm doing and I attack this position, force the change. However, a lot of people don't. Like I said, they kick, they miss, and then you'll see it all the time in kickboxing. The guy will kick, the other guy will pop back, hey, thank you, whack, and they kick the leg all the time. So if we kick and we miss, we pull it back to this point. This way, at that point, I can interrupt what I'm doing according to what my attacker does. Now maybe I can still do the same thing, I go over here, but maybe he steps back in or doesn't kick himself. Yeah, now I'm going to go over here because it's the new blind side. So it enables me to interrupt what I'm doing according to what my attacker does. With the hands, at non-contact, I have to watch that elbow. I don't just stand there and look like, I'm going to start moving as well. Yeah, make it start moving here, and so I can get him moving around. However, as soon as I get contact, now I can use G-Sal to interrupt. I can interrupt from that point of contact. Because, what's your name? Evan, come up, Evan. Evan does G-Sal all the time. Now, come over. Close your eyes, Evan. Now, put your hand on my elbow. Now, just feel there. Now, I'm going to punch you with my other hand. When you feel that punch coming, I want you to duck. All right? That's G-Sal. It has to move. This has to move. Cannot reach him with this. Okay, thank you. All right. Now, like I said, probably not as dynamic as some of the other seminars today, but really, it's more important for me to give you something that you can take away with you. Think, okay, then move to the blind side. You will attack pressure points, things like this. Okay.